Our next speaker is Dean's Honor Graduate in Biochemistry, Alexa Morton. Alexa has served as a student leader of the UT Austin iGEM synthetic biology team, and she helped develop a team project that involved engineering bacteria to secrete antimicrobial peptides to protect plants from disease. The team received a gold medal and were nominated for excellence in several categories at the iGEM Grand Jamboree in Paris, and Alexa's honors thesis was inspired by that project. At UT, she has served as a course assistant in molecular biology, a CNS orientation advisor, and a freshman research initiative peer mentor. And she's been active with Labyrinth, a progressive Christian community on campus. Please join me in welcoming Alexa.
Thank you, Dr. Drew, and thank you to everyone else for being here. Thank you to friends and family, to staff and faculty, and especially to my graduating peers. I know that many of us, myself included, missed out on having a typical high school graduation, making this our first real in-person graduation ceremony. This class had our lives disrupted by the pandemic more than practically any other, and I want to acknowledge the resilience and dedication of this cohort. Each and every one of us has had to struggle and sacrifice to walk across this stage. But keep in mind, this isn't just a walk across a stage. Rather, this is our final jump across the finish line. This is merely the end of the beginning of our professional adult lives. Now, speaking of beginnings, I want to share a story with y'all. The first time I set foot on the 40 acres as a UT student was not to attend classes, as all of my classes were on Zoom at that point. Rather, this was when I first entered the lab of my FRI stream, Plant Pathways. Before that, I had never set foot in a research lab, and I had never so much as held a micropipette. I was so nervous for my first lab session that I completely forgot I didn't have key card access to the building. For a few minutes there, I went into total panic mode, and I had to wait outside until someone could come let me in. I was a literal and metaphorical outsider to science. But I also remember that same day was the first time I purified plant DNA, or rather the first time I horrendously messed up on purifying plant DNA when I accidentally threw away my sample tube. I was obviously pretty embarrassed, but I was so determined that I literally dug through the trash until I found my DNA sample just so I'd have something to show for my work. And yes, I was wearing gloves. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a pretty bad day. But what makes this such a fond memory of mine is that nobody judged me. In fact, everyone around me said it was totally normal to mess up like that. Failing the protocol on my first try wasn't weird. It would have been weirder if I hadn't failed the first time. That was the first time I really, truly felt a sense of community and belonging at UT, all thanks to the welcoming and supportive environment fostered by my peers, mentors, and faculty in CNS. Thanks to all of you. This semester, I've often joked with friends that we're almost off the struggle bus. Well, y'all, the struggle bus, or I guess given the number of us, the struggle cruise, has finally reached its destination. And I think that our experiences with isolation during the pandemic have taught us that it would have been miserable without each other. We've laughed together, cried together, complained together, and rushed to turn in assignments at 11:59 p.m. together. Working towards my degree alongside all of you has helped me feel like not only part of the CNS community, but part of the greater scientific community as a whole. Through late nights and lab reports, through wars and worldwide pandemics, through Hank Green and lo-fi hip-hop, we've arrived at this moment, this pivotal point in our lives, together. Now, I'm sure some of you are starting to bite your nails when you hear me call this a pivotal point in our lives. For the past year or so, people have almost certainly asked you variations of, what's next after graduation? What comes after this pivotal point, as I call it? Well, to pivot is to simply change direction. You don't necessarily have to know right this minute what that direction will be. I, like many of you, I'm sure, fall into the often silent camp of students whose knee-jerk response to the question of what comes next is, I don't know. I don't know. I have 5 words for you. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to know. Our stories have barely begun, and we have the rest of our lives to write and revise them as we see fit. The future isn't desolate, even if it's a little blurry right now. Now, all that said, I'm giving y'all just one final assignment of sorts before we graduate. An assignment given to me by a close family friend. Just relax and don't think about the future for a bit. Enjoy your graduation and celebration. I want you all to take this moment, this incredible accomplishment, and savor it. You've earned it. At the end of the day, each and every member of this class has demonstrated time and time again that we are capable of changing the world, and I am so excited to see where we all go from here. Thank you.